Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Bell. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2026, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute your phones. You can do this by pressing star 6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing star 6. It's very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. I'd like to announce that 2 weeks from now, we won't have a Board of Commissioners meeting on September 7th or rather 9th, and we won't have this meeting on Tuesday, September 8th, because all three of us will be out of town for Labor Day week. So we'll also mention that next week, but just to let people know in advance. So welcome, and we'll start out by saying good morning to Commissioner Scar.
Good morning.
Commissioner Fournier is on the road, and I don't believe he's with us this morning, but of course he should jump in if I'm mistaken about that. And let's just start off with Adventist Health Tillamook and Heather Thompson.
Good morning, everybody. How are you all today?
Good
So
morning.
the hospital has a total of 12 patients, and the ER saw 36. I don't have EMS transports for yesterday, but I will get a little bit better as we go to next week. And we are looking forward to our Epic changeover on Sunday, and everything should be back up and rolling perfectly smoothly by Monday with all the fingers and toes crossed. And that's all I have.
May I interject and ask
Oh,
exactly
good luck.
what Epic is?
Oh, I'm sorry. Epic is our
Good morning, Senator. Yeah.
it's
morning.
our electronic health record, and we're switching from our system we've been on for almost 20 years to Epic, which will coincide with pretty much all the other hospitals and health systems in the state of Oregon, allowing us to be more integrated and share medical records between all systems. Right now, we're a little bit isolated with the one that we have. It doesn't share records very well between hospitals. So this will help us have a better integrated health system if we have to transfer somebody, or if someone transfers to us, we'll be able to tell what your problems and health history was and make sure that you get the best care.
Can I ask one more question, please?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How is this going
course.
to impact people on a day-to-day basis? Are people going to have to change what they're doing? Are they going to have to update what they're doing? How is the patient going to be impacted?
In a
Other
very
than
positive
the
way.
fact that you have that ability.
So in a very positive way, most people have physicians that are on Epic as well as ours, and they'll be able to have one shared MyChart system where they can access all of their records. So on the switchover day, we will be helping people transition to if they want their MyChart app for the ability to view their own labs, x-ray results, physician orders, and they can just see a lot more in their own health portal. So there will be some switchover with that, but we have staff here from Epic and from our system to help patients and our own employees actually move to that system.
Thank you. I've had
You're
some
welcome.
questions and I wasn't sure how to answer them. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Heather. That is helpful. Good luck with the switchover. As I recall, there was a long period of time where the Adventist Health had 2 different electronic medical record systems. And that, of course, made check-in and work for staff more cumbersome. So this will be streamlined into one. Is that it? Am I getting that right?
Yes, and it will be the one that's most used by pretty much every other major system in the state of Oregon. I believe the health department's on Epic. I'm not sure about I cannot say the right name of the place in Wheeler. Nehalem Bay Health District, is that correct?
Nehalem Bay Health Clinic.
Oh, Health Clinic.
Mhm.
So I think that
Health
they're
Clinic,
also
yeah.
on Epic. So I think that we'll have a shared system for all of our patients within the county that will make care a lot better for everybody.
That's fabulous. I have also heard from folks who were frustrated that between here and their specialists in Portland, that the records didn't transfer back and forth. And so this seems like it'll just be great.
Yes, we are very excited.
Well, thank you very much for your report. Let's move on to Senator Weber. Good morning.
Good morning, and I apologize for interrupting like that. It's just that people have listened to this and they have asked, well, what is EPIC? And I said, well,
it was a great question.
Yes,
I said, well,
appreciate
maybe
it.
I missed
Thank you.
some of it, and I had heard that this was happening, and I realized what EPIC was, but people were asking about it, and so that's why I interjected, and I appreciate your allowing me to do that. Thank you. My
Of
report
course.
is very simple this morning. I had, and I know you did too, a wonderful day yesterday. For several years, I have been participating in the Oregon Hunger Task Force, which is a group that has been sanctioned by the state to look into the needs of feeding people and, food security, being able to feed our kids lunch and breakfast, being able to provide for our kids and our families so that they, can be fed. And it's been a very worthwhile learning experience for me. And yesterday was one of those days when I had asked Chris Baker, who is at the head of the Hunger Task Force, if they couldn't, come and visit our grub club. And they came and they made a day of it. And we got to experience other wonderful things that happen in Tillamook County also. Not the grub club, which is headquartered out of the Methodist Church, operates through the summer. And I know if you have children, that you understand this, that kids need to be fed in the summertime especially. But the Grub Club has been doing a wonderful job for several years at feeding our kids throughout the summer. Scott, my next door neighbor, has been in charge of it for the last several years, Scott Wenzel, and he is very dedicated to making sure that our kids have that ability. They feed kids at summer school and kids in camps and kids in our apartment complexes. In July, they were feeding up to 300 kids a day with a healthy lunch. And now they're down to about 100 kids a day that they're preparing lunches for. But they are good food sources and making sure that our kids are going to remain healthy throughout the year. Yesterday, the folks that were there and visiting and finding out all about it got to help by packaging cookies so that, kids could have a little treat at the end of their lunch also. It's amazing also to hear the organizations that are contributing to making sure that this food is securely delivered to our kids. We've got the Rotary, I believe, that provides all of the peanut butter. They've got other organizations that provide food sources for our kids to be able to enjoy the fruits, the vegetables, and the sandwiches. And they have a whole cadre of people that come in and volunteer every day to be able to provide these lunches. And it's something that we need to celebrate within our community because this is not happening in other places in our state. This is a program that is just special to Tillamook, and we need to be celebrating it. So thank you, Grub Club, and thank you, Scott, for your organization, and thank you for the Hunger Task Force for coming to see what we do here. They were absolutely amazed at some of the things that happened, and I was happy to be able to bring that forward as a part of the Hunger Task Force. The other thing we did yesterday was we visited the Tillamook evacuation assembly point in Tillamook at the airfield with the Office of Resiliency and Emergency Management. And Commissioner Bell, that's where you were able to join us. And it was really interesting to see how that is all being managed and worked out. And the fact that we have the security to know that we will be taken care of, we will be noticed, we will be helped in a time of serious emergency. That was a great hour spent listening and looking at all that is being provided and hearing all the things, you know, like the pilots and the planes that are available to us in the case of an emergency. Then we had the opportunity to also take these folks for lunch to the Bear Creek Artichokes. Had a great lunch there. If you haven't had the experience of going to lunch and seeing what Bear Creek Artichoke has to offer, you really need to do that. What a great place. They have, shopping, they have lunch, they have an outdoor dining facility, and we had an opportunity to sit, eat lunch, and to network and to share other issues that we are concerned with in our county, and that was very, very valuable. And then for our last stop, we went to Max Sherman's farm, just out of Hebo, up above the grade school there, and look at all that Max is providing, especially for our food banks, our food security places. You know, that man on a little over 3 acres of land is providing about 8,000 pounds of food a year to people that need to be fed in our food, our what do you call them? All of a sudden, my mind went blank. I hate when that happens. Our food banks, and especially in the south end of Tillamook County, and he is dedicated to that. Linda, his wife, gave me what they call a canary melon. I'd never seen one or tasted one, and I got to eat that for dinner last night, and that was absolutely fabulous. The things that they are growing there, the animals that they are bringing up and being able to provide for the community, it's astounding. Thank you, Max. And he has been doing this for years, he and Linda, and the true spirit of giving. And so that's all I have to report today. But I want to also put another thing on your calendar. The end of October is going to be our Coastal Economic Summit, and that's going to be up in Seaside. And I think that if you have an interest in economic development on our coast, you ought to look into how you can participate in that. So that's all I have for today. Any questions? And Commissioner Bell, I really appreciate the fact that you were able to join us yesterday. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate the fact that you invited the tour, that you organized the tour to visit us here in Tillamook County, because there really are some remarkable things happening here, and it was exciting to share them. And so thanks for bringing those folks from all over the place to visit Tillamook County yesterday. It was a pleasure. It was a great day.
Thank you.
Do we have Rep. Javity with us today? If not, we'll go on to Tillamook County Community Health Center and Camille Sorensen.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to
Morning.
kick off our community report this week by celebrating our community health workers. They are our trusted professionals with deep ties in the community and serve across a broad spectrum of services. This important work involves health equity and health outcomes for our patients and our communities. We're grateful for their dedication, skill, and the important work that they do. And please join me and extend a heartfelt thank you to our community health workers in Tillamook County. I'm sure parents are aware, but kids head back to school soon. If you have a child that needs a sports physical, back to school vaccinations, or a well child check, give us a call. Kick the school year off strong and schedule your children's appointments today at 503-842-3900. And everyone is invited to the Blue Heron French Cheese Company this Friday, August 28th from 3 to 6 p.m. to recognize International Overdose Awareness Day. There will be live music, craft making, resources, and naloxone training. And the first 150 guests get to enjoy a free meal. We hope to see everyone there. If you have any skin concerns that you would like examined, dermatologist Dale Westrom and physician assistant Dove Rainbow are taking appointments on Wednesdays at our Main Street Clinic location. They can diagnose and treat skin problems from mild to severe. Appointments are available on Wednesdays from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. You can call 503-842-3900 to schedule an appointment and get on the schedule while you still can. They will be available through mid-October. And finally, Tillamook County Community Health Center offices and clinics will be closed in recognition of Labor Day, Monday, September 7th. We will return to our regularly scheduled hours on Tuesday, September 8th. And we want to wish everyone a safe and enjoyable holiday. And that is my report for today.
Thank you, Camille. Let's move on to the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy and Gail Nelson.
Yes, good morning. A couple of announcements.
Good morning.
First of all, thank you. Jamie Godwin has been named Chief Operating Officer of Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy. Jamie brings extensive healthcare operations experience, including leadership of multi-site FQHC operations across medical, dental, pharmacy, and behavioral health services. In her new role, Jamie will help oversee day-to-day operations and support coordination across the organization as we continue to grow and evolve. And second, our school-based health center, the Nia County Student Health and Wellness Center, will reopen for school beginning in September. The center is available to school district students, faculty, and staff. Wednesday and Thursday, primary care is available 8 to 6, and behavioral health 8 to 5, and behavioral health on Friday at the Garibaldi Grade School in the morning and Nehalem Elementary School in the afternoon. And that's it for me this morning, unless there are questions.
Thank you, Gail. It's great to hear about the school-based health center services and that they're available not only for students but also for staff. I just think that's a wonderful service. Thank you for providing that service.
Yes, you're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Okay, let's move on to Tillamook Family Counseling Center and Amanda Bunger. Well, perhaps we don't have Amanda with us this morning. I'm remembering vaguely that she said she was going to be off for some time, and I didn't write it down. So let's move on to emergency management and Randy Thorpe.
Good morning, Commissioner Bell. And I just wanted to mention, good morning. I too was able to attend that the Oregon Hunger Task Force tour of our county. And it really emphasized that we here in Tillamook County are so far advanced, I guess is the only word I can come up with, in becoming prepared and resilient. And it also just showed how much our community works together and how we really do take care of each other. And that's something that a lot of people that come and on the tour, they're amazed at how much our county gets together and helps each other out during times of need, and also just helping out on everyday things. So it was really nice to again see that and to kind of showcase how wonderful this county is, and the things that people do for each other here is just amazing. And a lot of this goes unsung because people just do it out of the goodness of their heart. They're not doing it for any types of recognition or reward, which is it's just so amazing. So anyway, I'll get off that soapbox. And just again, we should all just be prepared and stay informed. And of course, what we do the best here is take care of each other. And we just remember that emergencies can happen at any time, and we just need to be prepared. So when it does happen, we are ready, and we kind of have, what is that called, muscle memory. We just automatically know what to do and where things are. And that just helps us, like I say, become a little bit more prepared with that. So anyway, again, talk with your family, check on your neighbors, and make a plan for those hazards that it could affect you. Know where to go, how to receive information, and what you need to do if you had to shelter in place or even evacuate. So with that, I will turn it back to you, Commissioner Bell.
Thank you, Randy. Let's move on to Commissioner Scar.
Good morning. Thank you. Last week, I talked about a couple meetings that I would be attending, so I'll give just a quick update from those. The first one was the Forest Trust Land Advisory Committee. We had a meeting with staff from the ODF, or Oregon Department of Forestry, talking about the metrics and measurements that they will be proposing to the Board of Forestry, that the Board of Forestry will use to evaluate the forest management plan in coming years and to determine if there are changes that need to be made. We spent a lot of time talking about sort of how those metrics were going to be divided up, what information they would use to present to the board to make those determinations. And a slice of those metrics are specific to the Habitat Conservation Plan. They are things that the department will already be measuring under the Habitat Conservation Plan and reporting. So those will be a crossover with the Forest Management Plan. And examples of that include water temperature is one of those. Inside the habitat conservation areas, there will be acres of land treated, meaning thinning and or maybe replanting of Swiss needlecast to better support habitat, those sorts of things. And so those are kind of preset in the HCP. So that was a easy part of our conversation. We then went on to talk about the things that are more likely to have some robust conversation with the board and trying to find the best approach. One of those includes carbon sequestration. We know that there are some members on the Board of Forestry who are very focused on carbon sequestration and how that sort of fits into Oregon's habitat plans, how it fits into the habitat conservation areas, how it fits into what we call general stewardship areas, which is, of course, where the majority of harvest is set. So just good conversation with staff, sharing with them our thoughts and ideas. And then I think that will be an interesting one to watch at the Board of Forestry, again, because there are a couple of Board of Forestry members who are very focused on how does that play in. And these metrics are really not intended to say, is the forest management plan a success or failure? They are intended to say, is it having the outcome we expected? And if it's not having the outcome we expected, do we need to make changes? So something like, as they set perhaps a numerical goal for carbon sequestration, it will be a future Board of Forestry that is probably in about 10 years that's looking and saying, how does this play out? Is it what we expected? And if it is, great. If it is not, do we want to make a change? It's not an automatic required change. So we'll all be watching that one carefully, however. and making sure that within that they look at not only carbon sequestered in the forest itself, but also carbon sequestered in forest products that are created out of the harvest of the forest, because the goal for carbon sequestration, of course, is not only what's in the trees and the soil, but also what is in the lumber, because that is long-term sequestration. So that'll be an interesting one. If you're interested in that, watching the Board of Forestry meeting next month will be sort of enlightening and interesting. We also spent a lot of time talking about board feet and revenue and how that's impacted by market forces, and how do you set a metric that is a usable metric in terms of determining, are you cutting enough? Are you not cutting enough? Is the department supported for its operations? Are the counties supported for their operations? Are we meeting the greatest permanent value of the forest, including the pieces that relate to revenue and support? So good conversations. I won't say we came to any specific answer, but again, watching the Board of Forestry next month will be very enlightening to see what staff is bringing forward and how they reflect the conversations we have had. Which, really related to the fact that revenue is a tough one, because the dollars today do not equal the dollars tomorrow. So if you choose a dollar number, that's tricky. And that, it's really dependent on market forces. So is there a way to look at that differently? So we'll see what they came up with on that. So that's kind of the highlights, I think, from the Forest Trust Land Advisory Committee meeting. And I encourage people to stay engaged and watch the Board of Forestry meeting next month. And then just quickly on the Salmonberry Trail, we had the Salmonberry Trail Executive Council meeting last week as well. And it was really a great update meeting, taking a look at what was happening along the trail. We got an update from the Port of Tillamook Bay about their lease negotiations with Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad. Nothing is decided, determined, or signed on the line yet for them, but they are beginning to come to some consensus points around where the railroad will continue to run and perhaps areas where it will not. But it's good conversation that's happening. Port of Tillamook Bay Chair Jack Mulder spoke with us. And then also, if you're interested in exactly where that's at, you can go back and watch the Port of Tillamook Bay's most recent board meeting and get the information directly from them. So I don't want to speak for them, but again, I will just say I think negotiations are going well, and I am certainly hopeful that we will see trail sections in our future and some rail with trail sections in our future. Other progress that was exciting for the Salmonberry is that the section they have been working on in in Wheeler, where they have worked with the Oregon Coast Scenic Railroad to create a platform for the train to unload folks in Wheeler so they can go and enjoy that small town. And then the Salmonberry Trail has worked with them to create a compacted gravel path that leads from that train platform back into town. It's not particularly far, but it does allow the train to get out of the roadway and unload people, and for people to have a safe way to walk along there and get into town. So it's not open yet. It will open in October is the current plan. So we ask you not to go start walking on that trail quite yet. But there's signage going in, and there will be a grand opening in October. And it's a great little trail with some interpretive signage for Bott's Marsh that is there as well, and kind of walks along that section. So more to come with Salmonberry for sure, but I think it's very exciting that it is moving forward. There is a very near future in which we will be able to walk on a short section of that trail, and work is underway in earnest to make more sections available. So if you want to get involved in that, please don't hesitate to reach out. And with that, Commissioner Bell, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you, Commissioner Scar. Well, I wanted to talk just for a few minutes about the Hunger Task Force meeting or tour that the Senator talked about earlier, and Randy Thorpe as well was on the tour. It was really very inspiring. I, for example, didn't know that Grub Club is something, it isn't like a statewide program. I didn't know that that was something that we do very successfly here, and other communities aren't doing. So yay, Grub Club and Tillamook, and it really is an amazing service and a great example of something that we do well here. And really appreciated the tour at Max Sherman and Linda's house. They invited us to their garden to talk about food production. And that was also very inspiring because I love to garden, but I garden at a small scale and mostly flowers and a little food for myself and a couple fruit trees, but it's pretty small scale. And Max and Linda are serious about their gardening, and they intentionally garden to grow food for other people. So it was just eye-opening to me. I learned a lot listening to how they do it and seeing how they do it, and seeing their different techniques. And they were talking to us about different like light reflecting. There was a red ground cloth that is a barrier for weeds, but also reflects light back up to the plants that encouraged growth. They had measurably more growth using this red cloth. So I learned some techniques and some products, but also the philosophy of it just sunk in that any of us who garden at all could be planning to grow food for other people. And I was really grateful for that. They're both retired educators, so they were, you could tell Max was in his element teaching us about what they do, which was lovely. And it was, I thought, this could change the way I do things next year. So thanks to everybody for that, to Senator Weber for organizing the tour, and to Max and Linda for inviting strangers into their garden, which was terrific. And also the other thing that was really wonderful about it was we had as Senator Weber said, the leaders from the Oregon Department of Resilience and Emergency Management were there. Randy Thorpe was there, our county emergency manager. We talked about how we'll feed people in an emergency, and all of that was really very dynamic. It was very encouraging because we're making tremendous progress, and I'm not saying this just to pat ourselves on the back, but we really are making tremendous progress, and progress in ways that other communities, other counties are not making. So we had a conversation about that very specifically at lunchtime. I sat with the senator and with Jeff Gilbert and Ed Flick from Orem, the Department of Resilience and Emergency Management, and they are the regional and statewide leaders. And we talked very specifically about what is making Tillamook so successful compared to other places, because their work with us is very productive and less so in other places. So we got to talk about our best practices. What are we doing that stand up as best practices that other communities could adopt? And there are several things, among them that we have this Board of Commissioners. When we hired Randy Thorpe, we asked him very specifically to focus on emergency preparedness and supporting volunteer groups, because that isn't a priority of emergency managers everywhere. That's our best practice, because we recognize that there are these really, really good emergency volunteer groups that are citizen-led volunteer groups that need some support. And so we said we want our emergency manager to be involved in that work. And so that really is one of the key things that has led to us being particularly successful, because those groups are growing and becoming really strong. And so when Orem, that as a department, Orem wasn't even formed until the 2020 wildfires. When Orem came in and said, hey, we want to help communities do this work, we had the human infrastructure available in those volunteer groups, in those communities, like the communities along the coast that we know will be isolated in the event of a tsunami. We'd already done the work in those communities to say, here's what we need. And other places in Oregon are not doing that work yet. And so it was really very heartening. It was terrific to talk about this partnership and like a multi-level partnership with the state and the county and citizens, private landowners, the port, etc. Like all of these partners working together for the betterment of our community and what we're doing now and what we want to continue to do into the future, because there's tremendous opportunity for all of that to continue to grow. So it was very encouraging. It was a wonderful day. We got to be outside for a lot of it. It was a gorgeous day. So it was one of those days where I thought, this is the best job in the world. So I'm grateful. And with that, let's move on to the cities. I heard from Linda Kozlowski in Manzanita that she is not with us this morning. So I'll just check for a moment and see if Mayor Stock is with us. Anyone from Manzanita? How about Nehalem? Or Wheeler? And Mayor McNeely in Rockaway Beach.
Good morning. Mayor McNeely is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'll begin with our fire department. They conducted a joint training exercise with the Garibaldi Fire Department last week. The training focused on boat fires and water supply operations in support of fire response at the Port of Garibaldi. This drill reinforced the importance of teamwork, coordination, and continued practice in achieving successful emergency response outcomes. Our Planning Commission continued its productive year last week by advancing another strategic plan priority, updating policies related to the flood hazard overlay zone. The Commission held its first evidentiary hearing on proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance provisions for the zone. These updates are part of the strategic plan and support compliance with the National Flood Insurance Program. The Commission recommended the staff propose changes. The ordinance is expected to come before the City Council in September. It's encouraging to see continued progress on the community's priorities. City Planner Abram Tapia put significant effort into this update and deserves recognition for this work, as well as for the many other projects he is managing at the same time. The title review period for the Jetty Creek watershed acquisition has now closed. Our funding partners are currently reviewing the title analysis as part of their due diligence process. Next steps include working through the land partition process, submitting a partial grant reimbursement request to the Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board for all non-acquisition related costs, and preparation of escrow instructions by Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board and the Department of Environmental Quality. I guess the best news is that the project remains on schedule for closing by the end of the year. And then our movies in the park at Phyllis Baker Park continues Saturday, August, well, that won't be the 22nd, it'll be the 29th at dusk with A League of Their Own. Again, a big thank you to Rockaway Beach Business Association, Sequest Gifts, All Professional Real Estate, and Seabreeze Ice Cream for supporting our Movies in the Park program. With that, back to you, Commissioner.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I will check in now with Garibaldi. We've had a little correspondence with Mayor Linda Bade of Garibaldi. I don't know if she's with us this morning, but I'll give her a moment to unmute if she's here. And if not, let's go on to Bay City.
Good morning. This is Mayor Leanne Welch, and it's a fine day in Tillamook County.
Good morning.
So this last weekend, we had the Bay City Pearl and Oyster Music Festival, and what a great success. Kathleen Leipzig and her team did a fantastic job with the Pearl this year. The music was great. We also had the new playground, a ribbon cutting for the playground, and again, thanks to all the grants, state parks, Tillamook County TLT, and Bay City TLT. I have never seen so many kids in the Bay City Park playing. It was truly just magical. And then moving on, I am not running for mayor again, and so we're waiting for the final list, but it's my understanding we have 2 people running for mayor, and we have 3 open city council seats, and we have 9 or 10 people that are interested. So we're considering working maybe with the AAUW on a candidates forum so that the citizens can meet these candidates and understand where they're coming from, and so we can make some informed votes. And then this morning at 9:30 is coffee with the mayor and city manager at Bay City Hall. And that's my report for today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for your service. It just seems like things are going so well in Bay City, and that's thanks to you and the whole team, of course.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And let's wrap this up with the City of Tillamook and Sean Lewis.
We only have 2 updates for you this morning, Commissioner. First off, tomorrow, we will have our coffee with a cop and the city manager tomorrow at 9 a.m. at Higgay Kitchen at 110 Stillwell Avenue. And then next Friday is our final movie in the park in the summer, September 4th, at Goodsby Park at dusk, and we'll be showing Despicable Me 4. Our next city council meeting will be on Tuesday, September 8th. So we've got a couple of weeks, and they always meet the Tuesday after the holiday. And so that's when our next city council meeting will be. But those are our updates for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, thanks to everyone who participates in this call. Thanks to everyone for listening. And thank you, as always, to KTIL for broadcasting. This meeting is adjourned at 8:41 a.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.